Okay, here we go. Let's try another video. Let's take a look at John 8:36. I'll use the King James Version first. That'll be the Old English that we don't use anymore. We don't speak that way anymore. Jesus says in John 8:36, "If the Son therefore shall make you free, ye shall be free indeed." Now, what's he talking about there? Free from what? First, let's read it in the modern English. Let's try the New Living Translation. John 8:36. Jesus says, "So, if the Son sets you free, you are truly free." Well, you might be thinking, Garrett, I've read this before, but it doesn't work. I'm still smoking cigarettes. Or you might be thinking, Garrett, I want to believe this, but I've been addicted to pornography for the last 7 years. When do I get set free? Well, let's take a look at the sentence again. Jesus says, if the Son sets you free, he's talking about the Son of God. He's talking about himself. Then Jesus says, you are truly free. Now, there are lesser truths here, and there are greater truths here. Let's start with the greatest truth. What Jesus is talking about here is, if I set you free from the lake of fire, you are truly free. Jesus is saying, if I set you free from condemnation in God's courtroom, you are truly free. Jesus is saying here in the greater truth, if I set you free from judgment and eternal damnation, you are truly free. Now, the problem is Christians have grabbed this sentence and ran all over the world with it and have mixed it up in the dirt and the dust and the mud and the garbage and have changed it to mean all different kinds of things. The greater truth here Jesus is talking about is, if I set you free from the judgment of my Father in his courtroom, you are free indeed. Now, let's talk about some of the lesser truths. Can this also mean that if Jesus sets you free from smoking cigarettes, you will be free for the rest of your life? It can be used for that also in some circumstances. One more, please. A lesser truth. If Jesus sets you free from a pornography addiction, you can possibly be free the rest of your life. He does do that for some people. Yes, he does. Jesus set me free from biting my own fingernails. I've never done it again. And I've been free from that for 35 years. So yes, he does do that sometimes. Those are the lesser truths. Don't teach them as the greater truth. Don't you be going to school and telling your fellow students, if Jesus sets you free from smoking cigarettes, you'll be free forever. Don't you dare tell them that, because you don't know that Jesus wants to do that. So don't preach things that you don't know. Just tell people what you truly know. That if Jesus sets you free from the lake of fire, from condemnation from God, from eternal damnation, you will be free indeed. Now, I want to finish the video with some hardcore truth. Some of you have been going through addictions and they'll go away for a while, then come back. Then they go away for a while again, then they come back again. I want you to know this is normal. This is common. This is a common practice that God orders in our lives. People all over the world are battling addictions over and over and over again as the years pass by. So don't take a look at John 8:36. If the Son sets you free, you are truly free. Then the pornography addiction comes back 6 months later, and you remember John 8:36 and you don't understand it. And you get sad and you get depressed and you feel like giving up and you feel even sometimes suicidal when the addictions come back. It's because we're misunderstanding this scripture. The greater truth is, if Jesus sets us free from God's judgment, we are free indeed. The lesser truths are, sometimes Jesus sets us free from an addiction for the rest of our lives. But most of the time, all over the world, those addictions usually come back a little later or a year or two later. So don't be surprised. This is normal spiritual warfare, and God is using this to humble his church. Because as I say goodbye, let me say this. What is more humbling to a man or woman of God when a pornography and masturbation addiction comes back again? Now that is humbling.